How weird was it to be doing Inglourious Basterds? I mean, talk about...
Yeah, it was pretty weird.
That was, I mean, for me, that was even a strange place for Tarantino was starting.
I know. Well, that was sort of the new phase of Tarantino. That was sort of the more epic, the same phase that Django came under. So, yeah, I mean, Tarantino was really why I became a writer. Seeing Pulp Fiction made me think that's the coolest thing to be in the world. A writer like that, a writer-director. So being on set, I remember that this time we were shooting this outdoor scene for the final sequence of the movie. And Brad Pitt, I get out of this truck on a night in Berlin. Quentin Tarantino's there in a leather jacket, framing a scene. And Brad Pitt's there in a white tuxedo. Says, "Hey, man." And I'm like, this is just movie heaven. It's never, ever going to be like this again. No matter who I become, no matter what I do, it's never going to be more glamorous than getting out of a truck in a foreign country. And it's Quentin Tarantino in a leather jacket and a telescope lens and Brad Pitt in a white tuxedo saying hi. It was the coolest thing in the world. And that was just a thing where Tarantino called you? It wasn't like you were pursuing it, or? Well, I mean, the way it works, you never know exactly how. I don't know if he thought of it, if his casting director thought of it, if my agent called the casting director. I just get the call from my agent. You have an audition tomorrow, So I don't know. When I met him, he was very much a fan of Ryan and Kelly on The Office. Is that right? Yeah. So I think whether or not it was his idea or someone brought it up to him, he said, "Oh yeah, good idea, bring that guy in." But I don't know exactly where it came from. Well, his mind is incredible. You know what I mean? Like, he really is one of those guys that just has a Rolodex in his mind for anything that's ever been filmed, written. I can't remember anything. I'm like, remember Titanic when he's like, "I'm the king of the world"? That was fun. I remember the most famous moments of a movie. That's it. He knows what kind of bullet was in what kind of gun and something he saw as a kid. Well, if he only worked on soundtracks, it would be genius. All these soundtracks, but the Grindhouse soundtrack, I think, is his best soundtrack. But they're all amazing. Yeah, and I agree. Like, every single one that you sit down and you're like, if you listen to that soundtrack and just listen to the songs, you're like, this is the dude I want to hang out with. Oh my God. And just talk music. But is it like that the whole time? And if to a surprising degree, maybe, because there was a bar called Tarantino's in Berlin that was a Tarantino-themed bar. And that became our hangout with him. And so, talk about, his style. They're playing his music on screens on a loop. And all the music is a jukebox that's rigged up with all Tarantino soundtrack songs. And one day he was like, we were drinking there, and he's like, "I like this place." I'm like, "Yeah." Yeah, it's pretty much designed for you to like it, Tarantino. Yeah. But it was a cool bar. I mean, he's got the coolest style. But, wow, back into surrealism, exactly. That's the weirdest thing, that you show up with a bar that caters to your taste. Right. It's got to be weirder. Yes, it's going to be the strangest thing ever.